parties. Please put your hands together for Mathias Leopoldi, co-founder of Julia, president of French Tech Abidjan, and apparently he's a young leader de la French African Foundation. Make some noise for him. All right. Now my first question is for you, Kate. As one of Time's 100 most influential people in AI, what gives you optimism about Africa's positioning in this digital transformation that we're talking about, and what must we do now to become builders of AI instead of consumers of it?
Thank you for the question, which I think it's probably the most consequential question Africa is facing today in the age of AI. Builders or consumers? But for me, this question is deeply personal, because I am African. My parents are from the Central African Republic, but I am also French. I was born and raised in Paris. And I spent the past 15 years rising to the top of the big US corporations in AI. But I saw something that was missing. I saw the missing infrastructure for our own builders. So 4 years ago, I decided to come home. And since then, home has been Nairobi. And I'm not alone. There are generations of builders from Microsoft, from Google, from the world's top universities, including Polytechnique, who are coming back to the continent. We are not coming back because we failed there. We're coming back because we saw what was missing here, and we want to fix it. So us, alongside the homegrown builders, the millions of local innovators, we are the new face of Africa. We are young, we're connected, and we are deeply rooted. And we want to change the story of our continent. I often get asked why I left NVIDIA at the top of the AI revolution. And for me, the answer is in the statistics. Africa holds 19% of the world's population, but less than 1% of the global compute capacity. What the stat really means is that builders across many African countries, across Kampala, across Nairobi, across Bangui, are stuck at the bottom of the AI value chain. They are paid to label data and not empowered to build, forced to use and consume systems that were not designed or built by them or for them. But on the flip side, I see an opportunity to rewrite the future for ourselves. And that's why I decided to move to Kenya and found Amini 4 years ago. We transform local data into intelligence that the continent can act upon. We deploy local infrastructure that our governments can own, build, and operate locally. And today, we are very proud to announce a partnership with Foxconn and Bull to close the sovereign compute gap in Africa. We will deploy compute that is modular, that is energy efficient, and that is affordable, so that finally we can own and operate our own infrastructure. So our small company that was born out of Nairobi is now solving problems at a global scale. We've now expanded into Bridgetown, into Rio, into Manila, across the global south, because the opportunity is planetary. So you asked me what I am optimistic about. And I think I'm optimistic about our people, the generations who are coming back, who have not just studied the AI revolution, but have built it, have been inside the systems which are reshaping the world today. And the generations which have never left, I've been here. And for the past couple of years, I've learned how to master those systems. And those two give me optimism. France and Africa have something that neither of them can build alone or replicate alone. Deep talent, a tradition for strategic autonomy, and the refusal to accept that the future only belongs to those who already hold it. And for me, I hope that this is the new generation of the France-Africa relationship. I want to refuse that our builders, our future makers, have to choose between living to build or staying to build. Building from home has to be the best option for us. Imagine coupling French scientific excellence with African ingenuity. Builders in Nairobi, in Paris, building on the same infrastructure. This is us writing our own AI economy, not negotiating to be part of someone else. So Your Excellencies, as today, the decisions that you will make today and how we collaborate in the next 10 years will define what sovereignty means for centuries. Thank you. Merci. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you so much. The next question is for you, Matthias. Nowadays, an Ivorian SME paying Kenyan suppliers still routes through London or New York and pays 2 or 3 times more for the privilege. You're building the layer that changes that, right? What would it mean in real jobs and real businesses if that infrastructure existed at scale within 5 years?
Thanks, Sophie. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, Monsieur le Président de la République Emmanuel Macron, and distinguished and honored guests without protocol. Like Kate, I'm French. I'm a French entrepreneur. I have been working in West Africa for the past 10 years, based between Abidjan, Dakar, Cotonou, Lomé. And I founded an online bank to try to tackle this issue called Julaya. We often hear Africa is lagging. Africa needs to catch up, like all these narratives. But there are industries where Africa is actually leading and is actually a leader in the world. And one of those industries I want to talk about today is called mobile money and was born here in Kenya around 25 years ago. Today, mobile money empowers 1.2 billion people in Africa out of 1.6 billion people to access financial inclusion, send money, pay bills, etc. But there's a but. This revolution is not fully complete. Today, as you said, if you're a Kenyan SME, for example, you want to pay a Senegalese supplier, it takes a correspondent bank and the dollar to do it. It is not a problem of will, it is not a problem of talent, it is a problem of critical infrastructure. And this is being solved. There is a new institution called PAPS, Pan-African Payment Settlement System, which is sponsored by President Ruto, and which envisions to allow the 42 African currencies to transact with each other without going through the dollars, etc. What we envision today as youth is to be part of this revolution. And all the young leaders in this panel and in the room, we want to be part of the economic growth that will involve and that will follow this revolution. So I want to say, like with the backing of the right banks like Proparco, BPI France, the African Development Bank, and also with the backing of the right support organization, ecosystem organization, we can make this revolution happen. And I am one of those examples. I've benefited from this funding, I've benefited from this support, and I want to tell, and with the approval from the presidents, that this is what awaits the youth today, and this is what we need to seize today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matthias. Now, Excellency Mr. President Ruto, Africa's greatest resource is not buried underground. As you can see, is the talent, is the creativity and the ambition of young people. We've spoken today about artificial intelligence, digital infrastructure, entrepreneurship, and financial innovation. But for millions of young Africans listening, the question is ultimately very simple. Will this technological revolution create opportunities they can actually access? So my final question to you is, what must African governments do differently, starting now, to ensure that the next generation of African innovators, engineers, creators, and entrepreneurs are able to fulfill their full potential, allowing them to build globally competitive companies and careers right here in Africa?
Thank you very much. And congratulations, Kate, and my good friend, Matthias. Listening to you is, breath of fresh air. I mean, I could relate with everything that you said. But let me say this. For us to be able to be future ready, and I'm happy to know this morning, I am among the people who have been saying I'm neither facing west or east, I'm facing forward. But now you're telling me forward is south. So I will improve. I will now know what to say. Now, two things. One, infrastructure. And two, knowledge. Let me start with the first one. There is every reason why we should have the right knowledge acquisition. We need to fine-tune the whole ecosystem around education. In Kenya, we have had to review the education system and to make it competence-based. There was a time we were teaching and the education was about academics and what you can cram and what you can regurgitate and what you can do. Today we are changing that to be much more experiential so that we get more skills, we get more competencies, and that is why 60% of our education is now targeted to STEM subjects that will inform what these two great young leaders are talking about. We have had to invest more in education, making sure that they have the right education, they have the right skills, they have the right competencies so that they can participate meaningfully. Number two is infrastructure, digital infrastructure, making sure that we have fiber optic across our countries, making sure that it is accessible, creating spaces where entrepreneurs, creatives, young people can undertake their assignments, their aspirations, and drive what these two good people have been saying. In Kenya, apart from reforming the education system, putting more money in and realigning education so that it speaks to the requirements of the now, we are also investing in digital infrastructure, fiber optic. They've just said we are manufacturing now here in Kenya a lot of digital assets, whether it is phones, whether it is computers, and all that digital infrastructure. We are laying fiber optic to 30,000 kilometers already in Kenya to make sure that every part of Kenya is in the loop. And then finally, the Ministry of ICT, and I have my minister here, is now working on how to bring the rest of the world into Kenya to experience. And I'm going to ask Kate why she chose Kenya. I would really want to know why, out of all the other countries, why she... There must be something in Kenya that gave her, you know, there must be something. And it must be among the things I'm talking about. So making sure that some of the best companies across the world come to participate with us. Last year, Teleperformance, the largest BPO company in the world, set up office in Kenya. We have many BPO companies set up in Kenya. Why? Because we have young people with the right skills, we have the right infrastructure in terms of internet connectivity, and we have a very enterprising and entrepreneurial population. So in my opinion, this is the space in which we are operating, and I think every other country should be able to think in that direction, because the future is about technology, the future is digital, and AI is going to be at the center of it.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Please, will you favor me with Kate? Will you favor me?
We picked Kenya because of the ecosystem, like you mentioned. The ecosystem is vibrant and it's here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your remarks. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Matthias. We are closing this first panel. Thank you, everyone. And Mariam, I give you the mic to follow this day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and Matthias, Kate as well, and Sophia for a wonderful job moderating. The fact that Kate left in NVIDIA, which makes more money on a yearly basis than a lot of nations, to come and invest back home says something that if we don't believe it ourselves, no one else will believe it, right? We have to set the precedent. And I think that's amazing. Also, what we're doing with the competency-based curriculum, as the President has said, is preparing ourselves for now and for the future. And I love that we're able to have these discussions in a room where the whole continent is represented. There we go. Speaking of representation, okay, I think we're back. Thank you, President Macron. Speaking of representation for the continent, the fact that we get to tell our own stories is also incredibly important. How we platform ourselves across the world, how we are listened to, how we are viewed, how we are perceived, that's what we're talking about in this next panel. And we will have the moderator being Aisha Toure, who is the CEO of Orange Sierra Leone. Please give Aisha a big round of applause. Let's go. And of course, His Excellency President Macron will be on her panel as well. Let me hand over to you, Aisha.
Sorry. Do you have the mic ready?
Merci, Mariam. Leurs Excellences, Monsieur Emmanuel Macron, Président de la République française, Monsieur William Ruto, Président de la République du Kenya, merci de nous offrir ce moment. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je m'appelle Aïcha Touré, directrice générale d'Orange Sierra Leone. Je suis évolué entre la France, le Royaume-Uni, les États-Unis et maintenant la Sierra Leone. Je sais ce que signifie naviguer entre plusieurs cultures et apprendre à en faire une force. Je suis également fière de faire partie d'un groupe qui connecte aujourd'hui plus de 160 millions d'Africains à des services numériques et financiers essentiels et qui a déjà formé plus d'1,5 million de jeunes Africains à des métiers du numérique gratuitement via les Orange Digital Center. Pendant longtemps, l'Afrique a été racontée par d'autres. Aujourd'hui, des voix africaines s'imposent à travers la culture, l'entrepreneuriat, les médias, la technologie. Le narratif devient... L'influence d'un continent ne se mesure pas uniquement à son poids économique ou politique, mais aussi à sa capacité à produire des récits, des imaginaires, des marques, de la culture et de la confiance. On peut parler de la diplomatie culturelle française, M-Pesa pour le Kenya. Alors, comment l'Afrique transforme-t-elle aujourd'hui cette nouvelle visibilité en capacité d'influence? Jean-François et Wilfried ont des réponses concrètes. Je les invite à nous rejoindre. Jean-Wilfried Kemajou travaille depuis plusieurs années au rayonnement du continent africain à l'international. Il est notamment l'un des principaux architectes de la marque Bénin, un monde de...
which has transformed Benin into a place of appeal and influence. Marwa is an entrepreneur, a content creator and TV presenter, and has worked in Algeria and France, and in Africa he's building brands, businesses, and has cultural influence among various different worlds. Jean-Wilfried, let's begin with you. Africa has often been closed into very reductive and incomplete narratives. How can Africa do away with these stereotypes and build a fairer narrative which is more ambitious and more faithful to contemporary realities? Thank you very much. Thank you, Aisha, for the question. First and foremost, please allow me to thank His Excellency the President William Ruto, as well as His Excellency President Macron, to welcome us here today to speak to such an important topic. Before I give my remarks, $4.2 billion. This is an important figure. This figure represents what Africa loses each year due to negative stereotypes which are portrayed by international media. This has been shown. This demonstrates that the image of Africa is no longer just symbolic, but has concrete impacts on our countries, and therefore we must acknowledge this. In Africa, there is no nation branding without nation building. We must clearly, in addition to the appeal that we need to build, we need to also develop important sectors to our economy, whether it's education or health. There is a significant challenge currently. Many African countries do not tell the narrative of this transformation. And what happens is that this narrative is told by others. And when others tell our stories, what happens is that we are subjected to negative stereotypes. And therefore, this has a negative impact to our continent's image. Now, let me take the example of France, which since Versailles and Louis XIV has shone throughout the world. It's the same in the US with Hollywood. Even the South Korean wave, which is much more recent, has ensured that we're all fans of Squid Game, for example, on Netflix. So this demonstrates one thing. There is a voluntarist policy. Image is extremely important. There are concrete investments that enable international powers to shine across the globe. In Africa, often we talk about the continent in terms of war, epidemics, diseases, in terms of poverty. And I think that it's about semantics, and we need to flip this. We need to do away with this narrative of fighting against poverty in order to become powers or a power. I sincerely believe that African countries can be cultural powers, technological powers, economic powers, and this narrative has already begun. Africa is not just the continent of the future, but the continent of the present. Therefore, I would also like to share a personal experience. Benin, for a number of years, has been transforming, and in Benin, the country has sought to do away with this negative stereotype. Often we talk about voodoo and witchcraft, etc. Well, this is the result of the years of, or centuries of these negative stereotypes. Voodoo is part of us. However, Patrice Talon made the choice to claim this very valuable heritage. I'd like to give you a concrete example. There is a gathering on voodoo. 3 years ago, we had 97,000 participants. Last year, it was 700,000 over 3 days. This demonstrates one thing. When a country claims its heritage and masters and controls its narrative, it works economically, it works on touristic terms, but it also strengthens African pride. Therefore, I would say that this example enables me to answer your question as it relates to solutions. And here, in the presence of the heads of state, I would like to share a very concrete proposal that I was lucky to share a few years ago, and that is to create the Africa brand. I think the time has come for us to have a brand, an African brand, because our continent must work on its appeal. This brand, in my opinion, needs to be in line with the Agenda 2063, and this brand must also be associated with financial. This will narrative and to add value to our continent internationally. Thank you very much.
Jean-Wilfried.
Thank you very much, Jean-Wilfried Marois. Millions of young women follow you on social media because they identify with you. You live in between two continents, the two cultures. Can the
beaucoup Aïcha pour cette question. Avant ça, permettez-moi de remercier l'organisation pour l'invitation, l'Assemblée ici présente et bien évidemment Monsieur le Président William Ruto et Monsieur le Président Emmanuel Macron pour être à l'initiative de ce lien France-Afrique. Sachez que c'est extrêmement intimidant d'être à côté de vous, mais c'est évidemment un honneur. Cet événement a une symbolique très forte pour moi en étant jeune femme algérienne, issue de la diaspora algérienne, et pouvoir aujourd'hui représenter la jeunesse issue de la diaspora nord-africaine, c'est un réel honneur sur ce panel. Pardon, je suis un petit peu stressée. Oh là là. Merci. Pour vous raconter un petit peu mon parcours, je suis née en Algérie, où j'ai grandi jusqu'à l'âge de 5 ans avant d'émigrer en France. J'adore Teria. Où j'ai émigré en France et pour continuer mon parcours de vie. J'ai honnêtement eu beaucoup de mal avec ma double identité pendant très longtemps. Pour moi, je la considérais un petit peu comme un handicap et pourtant aujourd'hui, je me rends compte que c'est ma plus grande force. Et c'est surtout celle de la diaspora africaine.
For our diaspora to understand two realities. What are international ambitions and what are the possibilities on the African continent? Throughout my education, I went to an engineering school, which was extremely demanding and very tiring, but it was my release. I needed a release, and my release was social media. And on social media, I was able to talk about my and I was able to speak to those who are like me and who look like me, and to represent them. And this enabled me to pursue incredible opportunities to work with international leaders in retail and cosmetics, and also to become
J'ai toujours ressenti un vide et une volonté très très forte de devenir une valeur ajoutée pour mon pays natal, l'Algérie. Et c'est pour ça que depuis 3 ans, avec mon mari, nous développons plusieurs business sur plein de secteurs différents, la restauration, l'immobilier et notamment l'industrie, avec l'ouverture de notre usine de produits de cosmétiques Made in Algeria et aussi avec la création de notre marque, la première marque premium de maquillage en Algérie. Et avec ce projet, c'est au-delà de la beauté, avec ce projet, j'avais vraiment l'ambition et la fierté de me dire que le Made in Algeria, le Made in Africa, peut rivaliser avec les concurrents mondiaux, et surtout ne pas avoir peur de trouver sa place sur la scène internationale. Et c'est pour ça que j'ai voulu me dire que aussi, à notre échelle, avec mon mari, de participer à l'économie locale, créer, investir, créer des emplois et avoir une vraie valeur ajoutée, économiquement parlant, et avoir cette ambition d'exporter avec des normes européennes. Et c'est ça, finalement, notre rôle en tant que groupe issu de la diaspora africaine, c'est de se dire que nous sommes là pour créer des ponts économiques, des ponts culturels, des ponts humains. Et pour répondre à ta question, Aïcha, pour moi, notre génération et les générations futures ont ce rôle primordial de changer le regard qu'on a sur l'Afrique, sur le potentiel africain. Et le message que j'aurais aujourd'hui à donner à la jeunesse africaine, c'est croyez en vos ambitions, croyez en vos rêves, et surtout, dites-vous que votre identité n'est pas un handicap, c'est votre plus grande force. Merci.
Merci. Croire en ses rêves, croire en son identité. Monsieur le Président, Jean-Wilfried Marois vient de montrer qu'une nouvelle génération africaine construit ses propres récits, ses propres marques, sa propre influence. Dans cette salle, nous avons des innovateurs, des entrepreneurs, des créateurs. Quel est votre message à cette génération?
Et les artistes.
Et des artistes.
Non, merci beaucoup. D'abord, merci. Merci, Président, de nous accueillir. Pas simplement à Nairobi, mais dans ton alma mater et dans ton université. Et merci à l'université de nous accueillir et vraiment à ces mots d'accueil très forts et à tous. Moi, j'avais plutôt envie de continuer à écouter parce que je dois dire que ça fait... je deviens un vétéran dans cette mission. Ça fait 9 ans que je me bats pour essayer de changer beaucoup de choses du rapport entre la France et l'Afrique, l'Europe et l'Afrique. Et c'était magnifique de vous écouter tous les quatre. Parce que vous avez très bien parlé. Et en vous écoutant, je me disais, au fond, il faut les laisser faire. C'est tout. Mais plus sérieusement, je trouve que la bataille qu'on a, je vais vous dire quelques convictions. La première chose, pourquoi il fallait changer ce continent? Normalement, ce type de sommet aurait commencé par une rencontre entre les dirigeants français et africains, ou européens africains, et les dirigeants européens, français, seraient venus et auraient expliqué aux dirigeants africains, et après peut-être à la société civile, vaguement, on a bien regardé votre situation, voilà ce qui est bon pour vous, on va vous aider. Et je crois que c'est plus du tout ce dont l'Afrique a besoin et ce qu'elle veut entendre. Le président l'a très bien dit hier, il dit « Nous, on ne veut plus ça. On n'a pas besoin que vous nous aidiez. » Et ça tombe bien parce que nous, on n'a plus totalement les moyens non plus, si on est lucide. Et en plus, ça crée plein de tensions. On a toujours des polémiques à la maison, les gens disent « Vous les aider », puis après, on a déjà tellement de problèmes, etc. Non! L'Afrique, elle est en train de réussir. C'est le continent le plus jeune au monde, c'est le continent qui a le plus de croissance au monde. Donc juste, l'Afrique, elle a besoin d'investissements pour être plus souveraine, Kate l'a très bien dit. Et nous, on a envie d'être des partenaires d'égal à égal, parce qu'en fait, on a exactement le même combat à mener en Europe. Et en vrai, c'est exactement ça qui se joue. Et on commence ce sommet Africa Forward en vous écoutant, vous, la jeunesse du continent africain, nous dire « Voilà mes rêves, mes ambitions, ce que je suis déjà en train de faire. » Et nous, on vient en disant « Bah ok, nous, on a des investissements à faire, c'est intelligent pour vous, c'est bon pour nous, on le fait ensemble. » Et nos défis sont jumeaux. Et nos défis sont exactement ceux que vous avez décrits, qu'il s'agisse de technologie, d'IA, de paiement, ou qu'il s'agisse, comme on dit aujourd'hui, d'industrie culturelle et créative, ou de récits, vous l'avez très bien dit, Acha, tout à l'heure. Et donc, au fond, quel est notre défi commun, Europe et Afrique? C'est de ne pas dépendre. This is this opposition between, consumer and builders. And it is exactly the same. Because a lot of solutions are made in the US or made in China. And when you speak about artificial intelligence, okay, a lot of us today are consumers. So I think we have a common fight, a common battle together of investment, which is to build our strategic autonomy for Europe and Africa. And if we build it together, we will be much stronger. So we need infrastructure. And this challenge of building infrastructure is exactly the same in Europe. Computing capacities. Okay, if we want to make infrastructure, let's invest. In order to do so, and this is a challenge, by the way, that President Ruto is facing here and fixing, this is the energy challenge. No chance to build any AI infrastructure and computing capacities without energy. So we have to build much more energy facilities, renewables, nuclear, in order to deploy electrification of our common use in Europe, electrification for households and companies in Africa, but in order to build additional capacities and computing capacities, first challenge, and to build foundational models and companies on that. Everything, when we speak about infrastructure, is about sovereignty. And this partnership between Amini, Bull, and Foxconn for me, is a perfect example of this sovereignty, this common sovereignty story. African, European, and Taiwanese company. All of us have to face this challenge of sovereignty and reducing our dependencies. So it's super smart. So let's rush on infrastructure, and it's true for AI, it's true for payment system, and I want to commend you for what you do with this Pan-African settlement system. I think it's super smart, and you're right to say that you are leading in terms of mobile payment, and we are very proud for Orange and some companies to be part of this game. The second key challenge we have to face together is about talents. In Europe, and especially in France, we do educate and train a lot of talents. Our key challenge is to provide jobs for them and to make sure that they stay and don't move. I have to say I was despair a few years ago when I saw that so many talents of AI in Silicon Valley were in fact educated in France, data scientists or mathematicians. Now they are starting to come back because we have great leaders and we are building clearly the leadership in Europe of AI and quantum capacities. And it is exactly the same challenge in Africa. And you were right. You have to train more, and I'm super proud of what we are doing here with the investment of the French Agency for Development and the university to build on STEM and AI, new capacities, new partnerships with our best universities. And this is exactly what we want to do through the continent. How to educate and train more and more talents to make sure that they will be trained here in the best education system, with the best partnership, and they will stay and help the country to develop and help the continent to develop. And this is why we will expand these partnerships between our universities and the African universities. We will accelerate this trend of investment, and this is why I want to thank our companies to clearly accompany this work on Orange during this summit. We'll announce, thank you, Christelle, this 50 digital centers. I think this is extremely powerful, with 1 million young African people being trained through this Orange Digital Center by 2030. And a few years ago, we built Digital Africa, whose objective is to connect digital ecosystems. And this is part of this training capacities for your talents, but as well how to make sure that the ecosystem will enlarge and talents will stay. Et le dernier défi pour être pleinement souverain, c'est exactement ce que vous avez dit et ce que vous avez parfaitement décrit l'un et l'autre, c'est-à-dire le narratif. Et on le sait très bien, c'est le vainqueur qui écrit l'histoire. Et tout le travail qu'on est en train de faire, d'ailleurs, on y reviendra dans la journée avec les sessions culturelles et sur les restitutions.
But there's also a contemporary narrative to write, and this can...
En tout cas, s'il n'est pas fait par les Africaines et les Africains, il n'y a aucune chance que cette histoire soit la bonne. Et c'est aussi une question de souveraineté, parce que ce regard, c'est celui qu'on laisse aux générations à venir, c'est celui...
This will give you a greater ability to forge ahead. If you have the right narrative, then you will appeal to people who wish to take part. It's about self-power. So it's just as important as infrastructure and talent. You have to have the right narrative, and this narrative enables us to ensure that culture, technology, and the economy are taken as one. However, it's important for this narrative to be written by Africans, and if this is done, then it will have... And that's why I'm extremely impressed by the example.
Remarquable, qui est passé par la culture et par l'économie, mais je suis, moi, très impressionné par ce que le continent est en train de faire. Et au fond, il y a un panafricanisme positif. J'ai adoré ce que vous avez dit sur la marque, mais on a souvent mis le panafricanisme autour de discours qui étaient très négatifs, revendicatifs, un peu revanchards, un peu anti-ceci ou cela. Il y a un panafricanisme qui est celui de votre génération, qui est positif, qui veut juste conquérir tout, bâtir son continent, soulever ses défis, attirer les investissements du monde entier et dire « Moi, je suis là, j'ai envie de bâtir, j'ai pas envie qu'on m'impose des solutions qui viennent d'ailleurs. Je veux développer mon pays, mon continent et choisir. » Et nous, notre rôle, et je finirai là-dessus, c'est pas de faire de l'aide, c'est juste de dire « Waouh, nous, ça nous plaît, on veut faire ça aussi. » Parce que nous aussi, vous l'avez dit, la France, elle a toujours été comme ça. C'est une nation qui s'est toujours vue comme plus grande qu'elle-même, parfois en faisant des choses qu'on ne ferait plus aujourd'hui, je l'ai dit et répété, mais parce qu'on rêve plus grand, parce qu'on a construit cette histoire pour nous-mêmes. Et moi, c'est ce qui fait qu'il y a deux raisons qui font qu'on a envie d'être avec vous aujourd'hui et que ce sommet est très important pour nous. La première, on veut
our companies and the government of France to invest by your side because we know it will work, and that the African story is a big story, is a great story, and that when you look at Europe and Africa, there is an evidence, and that this fight for sovereignty, technological sovereignty, IT sovereignty, quantum sovereignty is common. If you fail, we do not have any chance. If you fail, your youth will leave Africa and will no longer solve migration. We need you to succeed because it's good for France and Europe. There's a positive story to build. It is incredible for the 21st century that you'll build your story. We will do it also on our end, and we'll do it hand in hand. Secondly, we have a common destiny. We have a common destiny. You said something that probably you have a story that wasn't so good. There are millions of young people in France who are from the diaspora as yourself. And for many years we told them, sorry that you are from the diaspora or you come from this particular country and you'd like to be forgotten. No, you are 100% French and 100% from Algeria. You have your dual nationality, and we need you because that is a boost for us in France to have young people like you, Marwa, who are Franco-Algerian, Franco-Central African, and who would like to develop the world and conquer further frontiers, and who work with us. This is really important for us, so be proud of being member of diaspora, of being French and of being African. And that's why I'm here, because in my country, and I've told it to my Kenyan counterparts who do not know it much, there are millions of young people who are totally French and totally African. And it's a great honor and luck for their countries. I will stop here, therefore, Madam Moderator, but
builders of this common future. And I'm extremely happy to see how proud and solution-driven you are when you speak about your own future. And this is why I'm here. I am leader of a country who wants to be part of that, who wants to invest here, who is very proud of our own past and future. But this partnership, this balanced, generous, lucid, and equal partnership is precisely how we will frame and build our common future. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our moderator, Aisha. Thank you, President Macron, and Marwa, and Jean-Wilfred. Please give them a round of applause. And I love the emphasis, President Macron, on the fact that you can be both, that it doesn't have to be one or the other, and this emphasis on sovereignty as well. I'll also say that something that Jean-Wilfred said about the brand Africa is definitely conversations that I've been hearing happen, and I can't wait to see a time when Muranga tea from Kenya has the same brand recognition that champagne from France has, right? That fish from Lake Victoria has the same brand recognition that salmon from Norway has, right? And we're getting there we will get there if we continue to have these conversations, but also get something tangible out of them. I know the fear of summits sometimes is that it's talk and talk and talk and there's nothing concrete, but there will be concrete action points from this Africa Forward Summit, and I think that's an amazing thing. We're just about to get into a presentation on a white paper about Africa and innovation in democracy. But before we go there, I think music is something that brings people together, and if there is a song that I feel brings France and Kenya together, and the continent as a whole, is Premier Gawo. Anyone heard it? Mr. DJ, I think we just need a little taste of Premier Gawo. You can move on your seat if you feel a little bit. Yeah. Hey. All right. Thank you, Mr. D. Okay. Oh, we're ready to dance. Okay. Let's Thank you, Mr. DJ. Thank you. I just wanted you to get up a bit. I think I'm correct that Premier Gawo brings Africa and France together. Does it not? It really does. We are talking next about innovation in democracy. And Professor Achille Mbembe is a historian. He's a political scientist. He is someone who has done a lot of work researching what democracy for Africa looks like. Sometimes we make copy-paste systems without thinking, how do I make this work for me? So he's presenting a white paper on what innovation in African democracy looks like. Please help me give a warm round of applause and a welcome to Professor Achille Mbembe.
Some formal remarks, but my dear friend Emmanuel's speech, in an African country. So, I knew, I have seen him in action a few times, and I'm very happy that I was able to witness the same energy, the same intelligence, and the same commitment to our continent and to the idea of a common world. He ended with that. I was also delighted to listen to President Ruto and to hear about the efforts he has been engaged in making of Kenya a place where no African feel like a stranger. All that we heard from President Ruto and Emmanuel, we heard it yesterday.
The same joy, the same passion, the same energy was expressed yesterday during a pavilion.
The Innovation Foundation for Democracy, the Paris Peace Forum, and the International Commission for Jurists, Kenyan section, we held at another university, Strathmore University, not far from here indeed. And what we are bringing to you this time is in the form of a book. I won't be summarizing the book here. The book contains no less than 60 proposals, which are not proposals for governments, which are not proposals for business, which are proposals for all, beginning with civil society organizations themselves, in the full knowledge that these days governments, business, and civil society and communities have to work together. There's no other way. And that we have to basically invest, as we heard this morning, in our communities and societies' resources, in their strengths, being inclusive, if we are to address the challenges ahead of us. I'll end these very quick comments with one word which came to me as I was listening to the conversation we have had this morning. When it comes to telling the world what Africa is all about. I will say it in French because I really haven't found a proper translation in English. I hope that the translators will do their job. L'Afrique est une réserve de puissance et une puissance en réserve. I believe that that's what I heard this morning, and I would like to leave it at that. So this is the book. Voilà. It's a lot of reading for the two presidents, but since they read so well, I'm sure that they go through it. Thank you very much, and excellent. Let's see maybe let's see. Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you so much, Professor Ashil. Thank you. Please give him a round of applause. President Ruto and President Macron, a warm round of applause for co-hosting this summit. This is just the beginning. This is day one. I cannot wait to see what the next 2 days bring. Now we'll take a quick photo session, but I'll hand over to Mike to run us through the photo session. There'll also be a video playing just to give you a historic look at the relationship between France and Kenya. It's going from Ouagadougou to Nairobi. We'll play that in just a minute, but let me hand over to Mike. We'll have a quick session with the panelists, a photo session, just so we can get everyone in the picture, and then we'll hand over to the video from Ouagadougou to Nairobi. Mike?
All right, thank you. A clap for Mariam, please, for moderating us very well. Thank you. Your Excellencies, I'll just request that we step forward. I'll request that the panelists may also join the presidents for the photo session. Just initially the first panelist, please. Just the ones who spoke. Yes, the two sets that spoke. Mariam, you can also join in the photo, please. Try not to dance so that we can get the picture. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, that brings us to the end of this session, and we'll then request that we all be upstanding as we then allow the two heads of state to exit and go to the cultural experience. Feel free to give them a warm clap, even for their time and for joining us this morning. Thank you, Your Excellencies.
Deuxième Kaou qui est Nyatao.